Welcome to Ms. Chocolate, Teacher English Channel, where to learn English for beginners easy and slow.
Today we will learn English through a story. Let's begin. Lost mother, lost everything. I never thought I would come to a point in my life where I would have to say these words. I lost my mother, and with her, I lost everything. My story is not one of wealth, fame, or great adventures. It is simply the story of a child who grew up in the warmth of a mother's love, only to one day face the unbearable cold of her absence. And in telling it, I hope you will remember to hold your own loved ones closer, because time, cruel as it is, does not wait for any of us. Chapter 1. The First Memories. Some of my earliest memories are of her hands. Not her face, not her voice, though those are etched deeply in my soul too, but her hands. They were rough, cracked from years of work, yet soft when they touched me. I remember being a small child, clutching her fingers as if they were my anchor to this world. Our home was simple, even poor by many standards. A wooden table, 2 old chairs, a bed that creaked with every movement, and the smell of rice cooking over a small stove. But to me, it was paradise, because she was there. She was my universe, my sun, my shelter. She would wake before dawn, preparing food and water, humming quietly to herself. I can still hear that soft melody. It wasn't a song anyone else would recognize, it was just hers. A mixture of a lullaby and a prayer. Sometimes she would sing to calm me when I cried. Sometimes she would hum as she carried baskets of laundry. Sometimes she would whistle softly while peeling vegetables. When I was scared of the dark, she would light a candle and sit by my side until I fell asleep. When I had nightmares, she would stroke my forehead and whisper, "I'm here. Don't worry. As long as I'm here, nothing can hurt you." And I believed her because her presence was stronger than any fear. Chapter 2. Lessons of Sacrifice. Growing up, I began to notice the sacrifices she made. She never ate the first portion of food. She always pushed the biggest piece of meat or the warmest portion of rice onto my plate. She wore the same faded clothes for years, while I had new shoes every time my feet grew. When I asked her why she didn't buy anything for herself, she smiled and said, "Because everything I need is right here in front of me." She meant me. She meant my existence was enough to fill her world. She worked tirelessly, taking odd jobs, cleaning houses, mending clothes, selling vegetables at the market. Every coin she earned, she saved for my schooling. I once found her hands bleeding from washing laundry for hours. I cried, asking her to stop, to rest, but she said, "These hands can hurt, but if they can give you a future, then it's worth it." Chapter 3. Childhood Moments. There were happy days too, moments so small yet so precious. I remember when it rained and the roof leaked, we would place bowls under the drops and laugh as if it were music. She turned everything into a game, into joy. Even when life was hard, she taught me that happiness wasn't in wealth, but in gratitude. On my birthdays, though we had little, she always found a way to make it special. A single candle stuck into a small loaf of bread, and she would sing to me as if I were the most important person in the world. I believed I was, because in her eyes I always was. Chapter 4. Growing Older. As I grew, I started to see the world differently. I noticed how other children had fathers who carried them on their shoulders, how other mothers looked younger, less worn. My mother looked older than her years, her hair graying early, her back bent from work. But when I complained or compared, She never said a word of bitterness. She simply smiled and said, "Every wrinkle, every gray hair is proof that I've lived for you." When I became a teenager, I grew restless, even rebellious. There were days I shouted at her, days I slammed doors, days I said things no child should ever say. And yet, every time, she forgave me without question. She waited patiently for me to grow, to realize. One night, after a terrible argument, I came home late to find her sitting at the table, food untouched, waiting for me. She said nothing, only placed the bowl in front of me. I asked her why she didn't yell, why she didn't punish me, and she replied softly, "Because I know one day, when I am gone, you will remember not my anger, but my love." Chapter 5. The Illness. The first sign was a cough. A simple, dry cough that she brushed off. "It's just the weather," she said. But weeks passed, and it grew worse. Then came the fatigue. She could no longer carry heavy baskets. She grew dizzy easily, yet she insisted she was fine. I begged her to see a doctor, but she refused. She said the money should be saved for my education, not wasted on her. By the time I forced her to go, it was too late. The diagnosis was devastating, late-stage cancer. I remember the moment the doctor spoke those words. The world around me collapsed. My ears rang, my body went cold. I looked at her, hoping for denial, hoping for some sign of panic, but she only smiled, as if comforting me. She reached for my hand and said, "Don't cry. We will walk through this together." Chapter 6. The Final Months. Those months were the hardest of my life. I watched the strongest woman I knew grow weaker day by day. Her hands, once so capable, trembled when holding a spoon. Her voice, once strong enough to chase away my nightmares, grew faint, barely a whisper. But even then, she thought of me. She apologized when I stayed up late caring for her. She thanked me for every glass of water, every blanket I tucked around her shoulders. And every night, though she was in pain, she would whisper, "I love you. Don't forget that." I prayed desperately for a miracle. I bargained with God, offering my own life in exchange for hers. But no miracle came. Only the inevitable. Chapter 7. The Last Day. That morning, the sun rose like any other. The world outside carried on, unaware that my world was about to end. She was weaker than ever, barely able to breathe. I held her hand, tears streaming, as she whispered her last words, "Be strong. Live well. Remember me with love, not sorrow." And then, silence. The moment her chest stilled, the moment her warmth faded, I felt a part of myself die too. Chapter 8. Aftermath. People say time heals, but they are wrong. Time doesn't heal. It only teaches you how to live with the wound. Every corner of the house reminds me of her. The empty chair, the quiet kitchen, the absence of her humming. Nights are the hardest. I lie awake, waiting for her voice, her footsteps, her presence. But only silence answers. I lost my mother, and with her I lost everything. Chapter 9. Lessons she left behind. And yet, in my grief, I remember her words, her lessons, her love. She taught me that true wealth is not money, but love. She showed me that sacrifice is the purest form of giving. She proved that even the smallest acts, a smile, a gentle touch, a warm meal, can mean the world. Though she is gone, her love remains. It lives in my heart, in my memories, in the person I have become because of her. Chapter 10. Message to you. If you still have your mother, cherish her. Hug her. Tell her you love her, not tomorrow, not one day, but today. Because you never know when it will be the last chance. And if, like me, you have already lost her, know this. Though the world feels empty, though the pain feels unbearable, the love she gave you will never die. It is a light that even death cannot extinguish.
Thanks for joining me today. Keep learning, keep practicing, and subscribe to Ms. Chocolate for more sweet and inspiring English lessons.